Welcome back to Tully Television, all you jive turkeys. I hope that I'm finding you on a wonderful day. Today we're going to be getting into Hawkeye episode 5. This is going to be the second to last episode before we wrap this season up. Um, if you thought the season was heating up by now, it's really going to be heating up these last two episodes. But before we get into that, I want to thank everyone for stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, hitting all on that bell notification. If I have yet to earn your subscription, I hope today is the day and that you hit that red subscribe bar down below. But let's get into it. Hawkeye episode 5, titled Ronin. Directed by Bert and Bertie, written by Jenna Noel Frazier and Jonathan Igla. Stars of Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, aka Clint Barton, Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, Vera Farmiga as Eleanor Bishop, Aquia Cox as Maya Lopez, Clayton English as Grills, Linda Cardellini as Laura Barton, and oh, Tony Dalton as Jack DeQuest, DeQueese, DeQueef, and Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin. Now, the opening scene of this episode takes place in 2018. We hear a voiceover of Yelena Belova talking to Natasha about using the red mist to help the other Black Widows wake up from the brainwashing that they've been through while in the Red Room training. We see her and another Black Widow that she had saved uh, go to this really snazzy home. It was kind of like a castle type of home. Kind of wintry all around. And they basically break into this house. They corner this woman and they spray her with the red mist, and nothing happens. And she was like, "Oh, not all the Black Widows were brainwashed, there, sweetheart. Some of us knew what we were doing." And it kind of takes them off a little bit. She explains to them that, even though she wasn't under the brainwashing, she still had to do what the Red Room was asking her to do due to just pressure and blackmailing in other ways. Um, as we see everyone calming down, Yelena asks to use the restroom to just throw some water on her face. As she goes in to use the bathroom and she's running the water and everything, we see her uh, getting blipped. Okay, this was happening at the time that Thanos initially blipped half of the populace. She was one of the people that got blipped. So we see her spreading apart like the ash effect that they use. And then literally within a couple of seconds, she reassembles and we see the bathroom change its decor and lighting and stuff. And she comes out massively confused. And we see a man and a child near the piano, and the woman that she initially went to go save, excuse me, there, and she explains to Yelena, like, this is basically 5 years later, and what had happened was you probably got blipped and got reassembled, I guess, because you disappeared. You were here 5 years ago and you disappeared. You went to my bathroom and you were gone. and now you're here. Um, that was when the Hulk flipped everyone back. The perspective that we seen was that it happened instantaneously from the time Thanos snapped and blipped half the populace to when the Hulk snapped and returned everybody. For the people blipped, it happened within a matter of seconds. For those of people that were left behind, the pain was very real, losing everyone, and they had to suffer with that for like 5 years. So very interesting uh, thing that when happened. Uh, the ramifications of some of these things can be long lasting, and it'd be interesting to see kind of how this affects some of our heroes that were blipped and those of compared to those who were able to stay. But we then go back to then we transition to Kate Bishop being at her mother's house, explaining to her mother what had happened, and the mother was um still trying to be manipulative and letting her know like, well, that's what you get for trusting these type of people, whatever, like that. So you should just work for me and deal with me or whatever. But she's really not listening to that. She just wants to figure out how to help people in her own way. We then transition to Maya being cleaned up by Kazi because of getting shot with the arrow, getting stung by the widow bites by Yelena. Maya took a pretty heavy toll, a pretty heavy beating herself. Um, that's why I like this series. The females that were in here were very capable, um, but still also very flawed. Like Maya having a prosthetic leg and being deaf. Um, it was, you know, it can be disadvantages to her, but um, she's also very capable of fighting. But she still gets her butt whipped. Kate still gets her butt whipped. Um, you know, Eleanor, through all her planning, still uh, doesn't seem to be winning out the day either. So it's not. It's good to see that these women who are strong women, um, not accomplishing everything just because they're women, that they're growing because of the flaws, they're growing because of the failures, evolving. But basically, Kazi's telling Maya like we need to stop doing this because Uncle's gonna really um, get involved and kind of react in a way that we don't want him to react as. You know, the type of reaction that Kazi's afraid of happening with Uncle. Then we pick up with Kate Bishop going home to her apartment above the pizza place where Yelena Belova is waiting for her, and they decide to. Oh, well, Yelena decides to bond over mac and cheese. She says her father thinks that by eating together, you'll be able to talk things out and, you know, uh, figure things out. As Yelena and Kate are talking over mac and cheese, we see Hawkeye going to Grills' house. Wanting to spend the night there. Grills allows him to stay there with the dog. Um, you know, um, he's a mess too because of his flashbacks that he was having of being Ronin. Uh, in the last episode, he's starting to realize what he might have to do in this episode. Um, the next day, when he wakes up from Grills' apartment, he goes to Avengers Monument in Manhattan, and he talks to Natalia, aka the Black Widow, and basically saying that I got to be here without you, and all I got was like a stupid orange rock to save the world, and um, but he's going to make sure that he accomplishes what he needs to accomplish with this to end it all, to end this. He talks to his wife Laura about that he feels like even though he needs to get home for Christmas, that he needs to finish this because Kate really is in big trouble, bigger trouble than he thought she was initially going to be in. And Laura understands. She seems to have an understanding of this lifestyle, and you start to understand that maybe the Rolex that was lost at Avengers Tower and that they're looking for, meaning the tracksuit mafia and Uncle, maybe it does really belong to her, but I don't know really what it would be, what type of information they would be able to obtain from her records anyway, even if she was, say, a superhero of some sort or an agent of some sort beforehand. Um, what really information are they hoping to accomplish by getting this Rolex? They really haven't explained so much why the Rolex was such an important thing um, so far. But I'm going to go back to Kate and Yelena's conversation a little bit. Yelena asks Kate some questions, and Kate's trying to play it cool, but she understands that Yelena is someone who's not to be trifled with. Finally, Kate asks her, well, what is it that you're trying to talk to Clint about? Uh, and Yelena says, she's like, oh, no, 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 I'm not trying to talk to him. I'm trying to kill him, and Kate, uh, Kate's very confused about how to look at Hawkeye Clint because here she is, Yelena talking about how he killed her sister and this and that, and it doesn't jive up with who Clint is and who Hawkeye is, according to how Kate looks at him. And um, we have these two women who looked up to these heroes, Black Widow and Hawkeye, and have different loyalties and different views about what happened. On Volmir, only really Hawkeye, Black Widow, and say Red Skull know really what happened there. There'd be no reason for Hawkeye to lie, especially with the type of relationship they had and how close they were. He even knew that she had, that Natasha had a family, um, that she still considered her family in the Red Guardian and Iron Maiden and Yelena. Um, Basically, Kate is like, well, I'm gonna still try to help him and protect him and try to talk to you and let you know that this isn't really the way to go about it. Clint's not a killer like that. So basically, that conversation is over. We pick up with the Tracksuit Mafia, the two main guys, Ivan, and I forget the other guy's name, listening to Christmas in Hollis, Queens by Run DMC. classic Christmas song there. Um, might just add the link to that music video down below. Um, they still need to get the Rolex, okay? And basically, uh, what they figured was, so do they still need to get the Rolex? Yeah, I think they still do need to get the Rolex. Finally, finally, Hawkeye confronts Maya in uh, a used car lot called Fat Man's Autos, which again is another reference to the Kingpin. And they fight a little bit, Maya and then Ronan, Hawkeye as Ronan. He's dressed up as Ronan. And as they're fighting, I think it's pretty cool that when he happens to hit her prosthetic leg, you can hear the ting ting. Um, she holds her own for the most part against Ronan, but again, Hawkeye has been used and trained as a weapon all his adult life. He probably knows techniques that she doesn't or has mastered them, and finally takes her down and reveals himself for who he is. And she looks at him like, "Oh shit, you're an Avenger." And he tells her, "We've been both used as weapons for people's greater goods. Um, you are being used. I was told by an informant that they were going to be there at the tracksuit mafia, and um, it was someone who's in with them, and basically, yes, I took them out, but someone gave me the information that they were there. Um, don't let whoever is telling you and feeding you this information, uh, don't let them get the better of you mentally." And he says, "If you come near my wife and I again, or any of my family members, will come after me in any sort of way, through anybody that I know, I'm going to come back and kill you. This is it. This is the end. This is no more with you and me. This is the final warning." And uh, he gets distracted by him for a moment, and Maya decides to try to take him down one last time, but Kate happens to be around and shoots an arrow very close to her, making her take off and saving Clint. Her and Clint take off. Kate and Clint take off in an Uber that Kate had set up prior to getting there, and they take off. Basically, they escape. One of the last. As they are approaching back to the safe house, you see Hawkeye giving an arrow to Kate as a kind of a reconciliation of their partnership. We see Maya and Cassie talking for a few moments. Maya asks Cassie, where was he the night that the Ronin showed up and killed her father and everybody else? And he sits there and he's like, well, I must have been asked to do something. I don't remember what it was I was doing, but I must have been told to go do something. That's why I wasn't there. But she's not buying that. She's smarter than that. And she's starting to understand now that maybe it was Uncle and Cassie that were the dime droppers, so to speak, that got her father killed by the Ronin. Um, Finally, the last bit that we see is Eleanor Bishop getting followed by Yelena Belova. because Kate was curious on who hired her, and she brought that up to Yelena in the conversation, like who hired you and stuff, and why to take out Clint. We know it was Eleanor, but Kate and Clint don't know this yet, and they're wondering. Clint has an idea, but Kate is still trying to figure this out. So Yelena is following Eleanor. Eleanor goes into this snazzy building, and the next thing we see is a video clip of uh, on Kate's phone, and it's Eleanor Bishop talking to the Kingpin. That's right, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is in the MCU, man. Holy crap! Merry Christmas, fans. He made the transition from the Netflix universe like Daredevil did in Spider Man, and he made his way into the MCU through the Hawkeye show. And that's where it ends. Uh, Eleanor finally with Uncle and showing that they have been in cahoots. That's who she's been answering to. And it looks like it hasn't been Jack at all involved in any of this, really, or not to the level like that they were trying to make him look like throughout the season. Yeah, it's Uncle and Eleanor, Uncle Kingpin, and Eleanor, um, at the top of the food chain, so to speak, and it's probably more Kingpin at the top of the food chain, and things have really just picked up for this season finale. Oh man, how's it gonna end? Only time will tell, guys. But that's the review on Hawkeye episode 6. The reveal was fantastic. Vincent D'Onofrio did a great job as Kingpin in the Daredevil series on Netflix. So if you have yet to watch that, check it out. Um, I'm sure there's scenes that you can pick up that are will show you the range this man has got. Um, yeah, just a wonderful approach to the character, and I'm really again liking the growth of Kate as a character, the growth of Maya, even the growth of Clint. Um, they're all growing through pain, through bonding, while Maya is in the basically in the grips of a downward spiral because after everything that she thought was true, she's starting to realize that the people that she trusted can't be trusted anymore, and that's really putting her in a unique situation because now, what is she gonna do? Who's she gonna rely on? Um, the person that she spent all this time trying to go after was the one that told her the truth. So that's got to be mind blowing as it is. The enemies that you thought were your enemies are really your friends, and your friends are really your enemies. To have that realization is a big pill to swallow for Maya, and we'll see how this leads out. We're gonna see how Kate gets affected by seeing her mother in cahoots with the Kingpin. Um, yeah, a lot is yet to be answered, and the ramifications of this may be long lasting. Well, only time will tell. But I want to again thank everyone for stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting. Hit that red subscribe bar if you have yet to subscribe, because only together can we go straight to the moon, baby. And until next time, peace.